Carrie Gress is a wife, she's a mother, she's a philosopher, and she, in this book, The End of Woman, she punctures the myth of feminism. And she says that only a rediscovery of true womanhood can pull our society back from the brink. Carrie, I am truly honored to have you on the podcast. Yeah, you mention in your book, this is so poignant and profound, Mary Wollstonecraft. She rejected motherhood, and yet she became the mother of someone who wrote the Gothic novel Frankenstein. The way you cash that out in the book is great reading, but it's powerful because it's a harbinger of that which will come later on, which eventually happened in our generation, the mutilation of people.
Yeah. No, that was one of those insights. When you're writing a book, you don't really always know what you're going to find and how things are going to fit together. And so it was pretty remarkable to see, to look at someone like Mary Shelley, who, Mary Shelley was married to Percy Shelley, who was a huge romantic, huge force for breaking down any kind of taboo. He also is, curiously, was the one that came up with what I call the three pillars of feminism. It was in his work that's what feminism became moving forward. And these ideas were free love, the occult, and smashing the patriarchy. He put all those things together in his work in what he called the women's revolution. So she's Mary Shelley then, and they're both of them are fascinated by this idea of creating and creation and science and electricity, all these kinds of new concepts. And so it's really interesting to see that she creates in the book Frankenstein this creature who ultimately is just this miserable, just unloved creature. And, in many respects, people speculate that she was sort of putting herself in that because she probably felt a certain amount of guilt that her mother died after she was born. And, she ran away from her father to be with Shelley before Shelley was divorced from his first wife. And anyway, there was just a mess in her life. And, so there's this desire to sort of create something out of nothing using technology. And of course, they didn't have the technology to do what we're doing today. And that's the amazing thing, is to see the lengths that people are going to sort of make themselves whole in the way that Mary Shelley probably longed for. It certainly is in the book of Frankenstein, in The Creature. And, now we're seeing this with, if we just change some body parts out, then somehow that's supposed to bring healing to what it is that people are really suffering, which of course will never bring healing to it. And this is why we see, the fruits of it, that suicide levels are much higher after any kind of trans surgeries. And, we also see it in feminism itself, just how miserable women are. And these are the statistics that most feminists will never talk about, just the rise in depressions, suicide attempts, or successful attempts at suicide, substance abuse, divorces. All of these kinds of things are really pointing to incredibly unhappy people because, again, we're not working with human nature. We're working directly against it to create something of our own imagining.